pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. We're unusually small. It's all right. There is plenty of iced tea. It was all supposed to be from Rutter's, but I found out the two convenience stores that belong to each other don't carry the same iced tea. Totally by mistake. I just went in and picked some more up and, well, anyways. Iced tea, please. Enjoy it for the evening. At least it isn't 110 degrees outside this week. I want to call to attention to our fellow citizens, everyone, that I noticed a lot of people helping out other neighbors and that type of thing with all the destruction that some of the wind brought through. That seemed to be very concentrated to the valley, or what we would really call Cadores. I believe that's what it used to be called when it was a train stop. So, up here, I had a couple pennant flags blow over. Which neighbor had a tree fall down? Yeah. It's amazing, yeah, how concentrated microbursts are. Let's see here. And so I guess that ended the 4th of July season with a lot of fireworks from nature. That's all I have to say about that at this point. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from June 3rd and fix the typo. The other one is a special meeting of June 17th to approve the minutes. So, as council had the opportunity to review those minutes, and if not, we'll review a few more minutes for any corrections or comments before we take the vote.
Yeah, what was the date that was different?
It's June 17th as opposed to June 6th on the approval of the minutes in the agenda. So, typo.
With that correction.
And the minutes are correct. And they have the correct date. Yes, we have on the minutes themselves, the draft.
With that correction, I move the minutes to accept them.
Have a second? Any further discussion needed on the minutes or corrections? All those in favor of accepting the minutes as documented, say aye or yea. All those opposed? Thank you. The minutes carried as written. Oh, you approve the vote at the same time. Oh, well, I didn't know that. Okay, so we'll count that as accepting the June 3rd minutes and move on to accept the June 17th minutes. That is where the correction was made anyways, so, do I have a motion to accept that? I'll make the motion. I need a second. Second. Any further discussion on June 17th minutes? Thank you. All those in favor of accepting the way written June 17th minutes are, say yes, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? June 17th minutes carried as documented. Thank you. All right, from there we are open to public comment. There aren't so many of you that I don't care what we're reading.
I just got one quick question. 25-mile-an-hour thing you keep talking about, but how long it's gonna be till they put these signs up? Not that anybody's gonna listen, but at least put them up to maybe encourage them to slow down.
Okay, and that is part of our discussion here with the solicitor, how far we carried the advertisement, and that type of thing. So I think we'll answer your question here in a few moments.
Okay.
She's up next on this. And I'll find out a few things about it too.
I live on the corner of York and Duke, and, we're getting a lot of people coming up Duke, and then they have to turn around a lot more than they used to. I had a rain camera, so I'm seeing this. Is there a way that we could put up a no outlet sign so we can keep that traffic? I mean, I've seen some kind of shady stuff too. I've got some stuff on video that's a little concerning. People sort of, and there's nothing you can do about people walking, obviously, but, it's something that we're really watching down there. And I don't know if it's just because we have more people in town, and it probably is. People don't know, but, they keep people from going up there and possibly backing into my garage or something when they're turning around.
Sure.
That's kind of.
Sounds like it should have a new outlet sign.
Yeah.
I've
The
got
people
a-
that go up there are the people that know that Cedar Street still exists back there, and they wanna do a little bit of four-wheeling, which, that's, that's just my neighbor. So, we don't want everybody up there, because we have to mow that, and then it gets well, so, like it does.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, as far as private property, you can always put up the trespassing signs.
Oh, we can put up a sign as well on the alley or outlet, okay.
Well, the new outlet one, we should do for it. Okay, but as far as your private property.
Oh, yeah.
areas where you're going,
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely, yeah.
to answer that, I believe correctly. So, I will add that to the list of
There's only
signs.
2 houses there.
I have a list of, 30-some signs right now I think we need throughout the
Great.
community. Let me jot that down there real quick. So I don't forget. Okay, thank you. Any other public comment or concerns? Thank you. All right, so then we're gonna move on to the solicitor's report. She has several items here for us to go over.
Yeah, so for the small games of chance, Devin just wanted me to let you guys know that the York County Treasurer is checking the municipalities to see who has legalized games of chance by referendum, and that Jefferson Borough did, legalize games of chance by referendum. I don't know the exact date, but we already provided that information to the York County Treasurer, so. There's the update on that. Real quick, let's jump to the, question about the signage for the speed limit. So we did advertise the ordinance. It should have been in circulation, on June 23rd. So now we have 60 days after that publication to draft, and approve the ordinance. So we'll get started on that, and then we should have a better timeline for you next meeting.
Okay.
What about winter?
Okay. And then, do you wanna jump to, Jason, do you wanna jump to the questions that you had about some of the borough policies real quick, or?
Yeah,
So I
so,
just wanted to move it up into here,
Yeah,
so
so-
she'd still be here.
um,
Go.
before I say anything, I wanna clarify with you first. So from what I've been understood is internal issues within the council paid employee aspect of the borough all has to be discussed in executive session.
Yeah, so it's like disciplining, stuff like that, anything that has to do with like
So-
employment, yeah.
Unless it's allowed right now, statements and conversations that were said in executive session, I need to voice as my concerns for why I need to discuss the policy. But I don't wanna say anything I'm not allowed. That's why I requested an executive session, because that's what I thought was needed.
No, that
Because
makes
I
sense.
would have to speak about internal issues that aren't technically allowed to be discussed via public.
Yeah.
So if I can't speak of that, then
Mhm.
if I can't speak of things said in executive session, then I really can't ask my questions.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, yeah, sorry, I did not understand, when you initially asked about having, I didn't understand that that's where you were coming from, I'm
Okay.
sorry, yeah, I misunderstood.
Yeah, and I just, I
When you use the term internal issues,
Mhm.
it's, you know, that's not an employment issue, it's just, you know, whatever that we would discuss, but you can't have internal issues.
but that's what I'm saying, that's why, what I feel like I need to discuss with the solicitor,
Mhm.
I would have to use statements and conversation that were discussed during executive session.
No, that makes sense. I appreciate that clarification because, yeah, if that's the case, if you wanna discuss things that were talked about in executive session, then I do think that we should, if that have to do with employment, then I do think that we should have the executive session, but I believe that has to be approved by the Borough Council President.
So that, because I knew that was probably gonna be the scenario, so I was gonna request to have an executive session prior to next meeting to discuss,
Understood, okay,
if
yeah.
that's how we can go about it.
Yeah, I think we have to, I do think that the executive session has to be advertised in the sense that it has to be on the agenda, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. But we could amend the agenda 24 hours upon motion,
Yeah, motion to amend.
yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe we could have you introduce those in a letter that they can understand the purpose better. Okay, and what, a little more, you know, like exact how it's involving employment. Now,
It's not just strictly
please
about
understand,
employment.
please understand that
It would
none of us are employees.
Yes,
Okay.
but some aspects of what would raise my concerns involve paid staff
Okay.
and fellow council. I'm not lumping you all into
No,
paid
yeah.
employee, I'm just,
Yeah.
pretty much what was discussed in the 3 executive sessions we had when I first got elected needs to be said out loud in order for me to explain to the solicitor my concern.
Okay, so, if it's okay with you, Jason, how about, would you be willing to send me an email, like outlining what you plan to talk about?
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to advertise the executive session for the August meeting. And then that way, there are certain requirements we have to meet too about like explaining the purpose of the
Yeah,
executive
I can do
session and
that.
stuff too. Okay, yeah, so let's do that, and that way we have a better understanding, so, yeah, but thank you for that clarification, I'm
You're
sorry, I
welcome.
didn't understand that was like the root of what you were getting at, so.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't get that out of it. I think it was just terminology,
Okay, no, it's no worries.
Yeah. and it's pretty specific about what we can and can't, as we went through last meeting.
Okay, and then next up, we can talk about the proposed changes to the sign ordinance. So I did take, some time to review the current ordinance for temporary outdoor signs. And right now, there are time limits attached to certain types of signs and certain types of permits, I'm assuming. So with that being said, I recommend that what we do is we would amend the ordinance to include language about, you know, the permit comes with the understanding that failure to remove the sign by the specified date could result in a fine. It could result in relinquishing the individual's rights to the sign, and it'll be discarded by a member of the Borough Council. And then we'll also write in there that the purpose of that is to make sure that the borough property on which the sign sits is maintained and it's not in the way of mowing the lawn or anything like that, so. If there are any ideas or proposed changes that somebody else wants to maybe write into it, we can definitely do that and then have that ready to review, by next meeting.
You're gonna send out
Yeah, I can do that. For a potential fee, I was thinking it can't be excessive, so I was thinking maybe $25 or something like that per sign or per permit for failure to remove it. Does that sound reasonable to,
That's a failure to remove,
correct, yeah.
as opposed to you just come up and get a free permit.
Yes, correct, yeah, yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously, if we're gonna allow signs, I don't wanna charge them to have their yard sale.
Yeah. And then my last item is about the Facebook use policy that I think Connie printed out and put into everybody's packets. So this is recommended language that we have, that I kind of adapted for the council, but if you wanna take some time to review and then ask questions or raise any concerns, we can definitely do that.
So the purpose of this is to maintain, good manners and decorum on our public, Facebook and or other social medias. And that, you know, it doesn't go out of hand or out of, character with the borough's results. I think we still have plenty of blanks in here yet.
Yeah, so I remembered, last time you mentioned that the borough already had a social media policy. Is that correct, or am I misremembering?
Well, yes, we do have a social media policy, that we enacted, or, I don't know, what was the name of that policy?
It was the one enacted on, I think, April, in one April meeting, it's
May have been the few before that, yes.
this one.
So we do have a policy that does this, it didn't specifically deal with,
It was this month.
there we go.
I don't have a date on it,
That's
I
okay.
didn't have a date.
No, yeah, that's fine.
This is-
I think it was
we have a record
April.
of it. It's all signed
Yeah.
by everyone, including all the, other boards.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The, this is just kind of like, we kind of treat it like an amendment or addition to the core social media policy that was passed originally.
Okay.
So that
The
explains.
Social media policy earlier is for personal Facebook account.
Okay,
So
so,
this one would need to be for the Jefferson Borough
okay,
Facebook account.
so there's currently no policy for like internal social media usage.
No.
Okay, okay, then I'll take that line out, about the other social media policy. And then the second part is just identifying who you would like to designate as the internet administrator, and the backup.
Those are our two blanks. Okay. Gotcha.
So is this only for like the Jefferson Borough?
Yeah.
So, okay, so if we don't utilize that at all, do I even have to do this? Okay.
This is when we have for our official borough communications.
Right,
This
yes.
comes from, like, we have a communication group that we're working on how we should send things out.
And it's also set some guardrails for letting more people participate
But
with guardrails.
guardrails, yes, but also clearly designating who it is.
Yes.
That is supposed to do this,
Right.
not just any of us put something on our official page.
Right.
That's what I get out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are we voting on this tonight, or can we think about this?
You can, yeah, you can definitely think about it. I just wanted to get something to everybody to look at and consider.
Yeah, I think this is more for Parliament at this moment. I mean, act on it with notes, what have you next. Everybody can express, take time. Communication committee can review it, make sure it meets the needs that we want to go forward with.
So
do you want me to do that at the next communications meeting?
Yes, please review it there too,
Okay,
and then we'll bring it back. Thank you. Make sense?
absolutely. And then, yes, the next item, I was going to ask, do you wanna move the chicken ordinance modifications, to now, or do you, if I don't have to be there for that, that's okay too. I just wanted to propose that.
I don't think we're at a point for modifications.
Yeah, what I've got on the agenda for this evening, and we can move it up, is basically, what we did is, kind of put together, our current policies, ordinances,
Okay.
that, how they, are, how the language is in there, and for, as we're considering other ideas, how this is really the idea we have in place. Is it simple modification? Is it simple, is there really a need for adoption of a whole new ordinance? I mean, obviously, if we amend this, it's still a new ordinance, but it's not the same.
Right.
Beyond that, what I was going to bring up with this later and since we are on the agenda for flexibility, is that I am of the notion that I don't have the votes to carry anything forward of any changes. But, so I think the motion I was intending to put forward was review this. Review the other policies as we've been through the month, maybe, hopefully have. There's lots of nice ideas in all the ordinances and stuff from, the folks, the citizens that have put media together before. But the desire to deal with this, as I told prior, would tell me I don't have the votes to continue on with changing. But I will either hold that to motion now that we continue any further discussion on that, or I can let you guys review what we've got and bring it up to such a vote next time. And when I would make that motion, I would make the motion that it would not be under further discussion until any reorganization at this point.
Can I
Yeah.
make
We can have more discussion,
Statement.
yes, yes.
can each individual council member list, not opinions, factual statements on why they oppose of any ordinance change?
Well, yeah, we can do that during discussion.
Yeah, submit it.
That is part of submission. I mean,
I
that's
sat
the
there and
proper
submitted a whole
decorum.
ordinance, if I can do it, each council member should be able to state factually, not opinion, why they disagree. So the public can know why.
Disagreements are opinions.
But
Okay.
you
They're
gotta
not
use
necessarily-
facts to
that's their
prove
fact.
why you're against. You just can't say because I don't like it.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yes, they can.
At least
Somebody
I
say
show
a
up to
lot
the
of
meetings with facts, okay?
That's fine. Yes, you do.
It's not just,
That-
I don't like it.
That proves that will help to prove your argument to your opinion. Okay?
It's a
Facts
simple
are
ask.
great stuff, and if that's how they prefer to, demonstrate the rightfulness of their opinions, then that, they may do that, or not.
We meet literally one day a month and do nothing for 30 days a month, and we can't do one simple thing.
I don't do nothing for 30 days a month in between, trust me, but, okay.
I don't hear from you at all through the 29 days, 30 days a month. So unless I'm not getting communicated to. The only time I talk to anyone's here.
Thank you. All right, so
appreciate that. I think we'll bring that up through the next meeting, that we have some documentation. We all have access to that anyways, but the summary helps in what's currently in place. I have read through some of the other documents, there are some good and bad things in there, and some clarity that we would go through a lot of work yet to adopt. So, we're gonna keep on moving. We do have a lot of very important things to work on still. So, appreciate that. Any further discussion or need for discussion on that particular review of the ordinance?
I mean, if you have the votes now, I say just motion and vote it now so the public knows. Why push it? And if you guys if you guys are saying no already, just vote no.
Okay. So,
It's as simple.
I can make a motion that we, leave the ordinance in place without amendment for the discussion until any, reorganization occurs, because we feel like we would not change our minds at this point on the current ordinance. That being said, that's my motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Further discussion needed? Okay. So all those in favor of accepting the motion of leaving as is the current ordinance without amendment or further discussion of additional amendment until reorganization wouldn't possibly allow it? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
I just wanna be clear, it doesn't mean it has to come up with reorganization.
No. Just not taking it into further discussion, not taking any more time. I wanna spend time, just so everybody's clear, I wanna spend time on the signs, on safety, budget. Okay? That's what I wanna spend time. As I said, we didn't have the votes. Thank you. All right, from there, I'm done with the solicitors. Let's get me back on.
That was everything I had, unless anybody had any questions.
J.A. Myers update, at the last planning commission meeting, request for a special exception and variance were reviewed. Both of those were denied at the meeting, or at least the recommendations denied the meeting. We later found out through J.A. Myers that they were pulling their request for the hearing. And then the zoning meeting that was scheduled for the 24th was canceled. We currently have a time extension letter from Warehouse granting us an extension to 8/3/2026 will be the time of our next meeting. I believe Jeff has on his list to reach out here in the near future to see if they would like another additional extension. At this point in time, after the planning commission, we don't know what their direction is or their desire, but we'll obviously keep that open. Discussions, at the time that they determine they don't want additional extensions.
So, just to clarify, I'm sorry, so, they have until 8/3 currently to
For us to have action on the original plan
request that
application.
action. Okay.
Yep.
Do they have a time limit as to when they can submit further action, or?
They could submit, whenever they want within that time frame. Under the MPC, we only have 90 days originally, and then we're allowed to obviously have extensions as long as both parties agree to it. So the current extension runs until the next meeting in August. So if there would be no movement on their end, we would move to deny the plan that was previously submitted.
Okay.
Question, Anthony. Since their plan, they withdraw on their plans, do they just to leave that sign up for as long as they want, even though they don't have any active plans
Well, they withdrawn their request for the special.
for the special exemption.
Yeah,
But since,
so that they still have a submitted plan,
okay,
that was originally submitted.
But that plan-
Until 8/3, I'm sorry. I'm sort of,
Until 8/3, we would have to take action on it.
gotcha, okay,
We would either have to approve and or deny, obviously,
okay.
their submission. That's based upon the timeframes that are set forth on the MPC, the municipal planning
Or
code.
seek another extension, you said?
Or seek another extension. They could,
So what would the reason be for seeking another extension?
for them, they'd probably like to keep open their original submission. On our end, we just need to be clear with them what our expectations are.
so does the borough have to vote yes and no by August 3rd?
If we would not hear back, we would have a vote at the next meeting on that.
So it's my understanding that you met with them, you looked at their documents,
The original submission.
and you made suggestions of what needed to be changed. And that's when, shortly after that, they decided they wanted to hold the meeting. And
So we originally met with them when they had their original submission. That was back in February, March?
February, yeah, February.
That was with their original submission. We found a lot of deficiencies with the original plans. They then submitted for the special exception, for use of single family attached, which was required in that zone, as well as the variance for the lot size.
And that was their biggest stumbling block at that point, was not being able to move forward.
The issue we had originally is when they originally submitted, they submitted for a use that wasn't even allowed within the zone that they submitted for. So this past plan commission, they were looking for some guidance or, obviously approval from under the special exception. That was denied, so I'm not sure what direction they're planning on going from here.
it's, considering all of this, do you think they're going to move ahead, or do you think that they might have changed their plans to do this?
I think the only thing that probably was determined from that is the density in which they're gonna build.
So they will build, but
More than likely,
fewer houses.
they do own the property. They've owned it for a while now. They do probably have quite a bit of sunk cost in as it relates to the engineering that they're gonna have. So I would make the assumption that they're probably gonna go ahead with lesser density.
They withdrew their application, without prejudice, and in the formal letter that we received from them, they state that they fully intend on resubmitting their application. Yeah.
Thank you.
So they'll either resubmit something by 8/3 or request an extension.
Can you deny the extension? So they can just keep extending and extending?
I think something should be added in there about the water. Something has to be done about the water, 'cause
That
we
was a-
definitely do not have what, every morning I was running shaving and it damn near stopped.
That was a large discussion in the plan commission meeting.
Something has to be done.
Dan Gibson. the
Years
chairman-
ago, they were gonna put another tank over here, and one time they were gonna put a pump down the 7 Mile Road somewhere. None of that ever materialized.
Yeah, that was brought up, not only by the chair, but also other members of the planning commission. One of the parts of the special exception was required that they had service, sanitary sewer, et cetera, and water was one of those things. The letter they produced from the water company was an intent to serve, but not a guarantee of service of flow rate. So that was one of the things that the planning commission did harp on, that we do have concerns of water pressure and flow rate right now. And there was no guarantee from the water company that they were gonna be able to serve them any better than what the current service is, especially with the addition of 60 to 80 plus homes.
And they keep saying it's enough water pressure, but they're not here when the use is in the morning. They come in the afternoon during the day to take a pressure reading, and it ain't being used. But it should, gotta be here in the mornings,
They
take
don't-
a pressure.
And also we have another, how many houses are gonna be built down below?
Yeah,
And I wonder what their water pressure is like.
they're better than up here.
So that's what I'm thinking, they're pulling from our people.
Every every foot of elevation has a direct relationship to how much pressure you have. So the lower you are in the valley, the more pressure you'll have.
So they'll have it, but poor Frank won't.
Frank's close to the tank, unfortunately, he will be the first to.
But they never answer if that water tank's full or not. That's supposed to fill up at nighttime, and I bet it ain't happening because they don't have enough water pressure pushing it out here to fill that tank.
Or it's never been resized based upon the demand that's actually here now.
So today, per the fire chief's request many months ago, and Kelsey's hard endeavor to get it to happen, they did do an audit on the hydrants. We should be seeing data back from that will either ensure that they are safe and the water pressure is safe or not safe, at least for fire purposes. Okay? That doesn't necessarily affect your domestic, but it is a huge issue for further development.
And when were they here? During the day, not when it's being used.
Well, they get started at 8:30, I think, this morning.
Well,
Since
they
we're on
did
the water
first-
discussion.
Yes.
So they open up, Frank, they open up a hydrant and they test up, quite a few hydrants away to see what the pressure drop is. So they should be flowing quite a bit of water out of there. They should notice if there's a drop. I would think from that test.
We had that fire
We'll
out
find
there.
out.
We didn't have it.
Since we're on a water question, and residents from all the way up on Burns to all the way to Berlin to all the way to Hanover Street to all the way to York Street, so it's the whole borough. And residents have shown me proof that they've called York Water, and York Water gives the same answer to pretty much every resident. Everything's good, everything's good. We tested your PSI, everything's good. But like, last week, I couldn't even use my garden hose to water my greenhouse because it was just. And other residents have been saying this for years. I've noticed it drastically in the last 2. But since we are a borough and our job is to make sure the residents of the borough are being taken care of and making sure they're having what they need to live and pay the taxes here. As a solicitor, what can we do as a borough to go to York Water and say, there's a vast majority of residents that have the same issue. What can be done? Is the water tower being filled like it's supposed to? Like, how can we get proof from York Water to validate that that tower is getting refilled like Frank mentioned? Or how can we as a borough make sure that York Water is taking care of the issue?
We can, yeah, that's a good question. We can send, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound silly, but bear with me. We can send a demand letter, which is on law firm letterhead, so it looks kind of scary. And we basically say, hey, we think that you're, not servicing the borough correctly. Please provide either proof that the PSI quotes that you're providing to borough residents is accurate, or we'll take legal action against you or something like that. We have the ability to do that, yeah, if the borough is interested in pursuing something like that.
Would it be beneficial to do a survey before we start that? Have an idea of how many different residents are having issues?
Yeah, it would be if they're, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was my next question. As borough, can we mail out a survey to every household and ask them to, if you're having water issues in York Water, check yes or check no, and then comments, this is what happens, to every household?
Should not our first step be with the public utility commission?
We could do, yeah, that would
Should
be our
that not be our first step?
Yeah, no, we
It
definitely.
might take you a
can.
while for that.
Yeah, if we,
Well, I agree, it takes time, but,
yeah, if we go to York Water first, you're right, they'll very likely be like, oh,
You're going straight to the water.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to go back from those areas.
But should
Oh,
we,
you're familiar with
okay,
this.
notify
Uh-huh.
them that we are contacting
Yeah,
public utility.
yeah, absolutely, we can do that,
And start those wheels flying at the same time, put some teeth into the letter.
Yeah, but yeah, a
Dan,
survey
what was your
from,
part? I didn't hear what you said to start. Should we notify who?
That PUC, the Public Utility
Public
Commission.
Utility Commission.
Okay,
They're regulated utility, therefore they answer to Pennsylvania Public
Oh,
Utility
okay,
Commission.
gotcha.
Just like electric company and other
Yeah, I just
general
didn't hear
public
what you said,
utilities.
yeah.
They're regulated on the rates, et cetera, so they would be regulated on what their minimum serve is.
Are they a state, organization or a county?
State.
State, okay.
I've got a question along those lines. If you're going down that road, would it not be prudent to look at the agreement of sale when they bought our water system to see if there were any stipulations in it, things that they were supposed to do or continue to do? Or maybe there wasn't an agreement, I don't remember when the system was sold. Did we have no operational agreement?
No.
Okay. Forget that.
We found the advertisement, we have not, we found an advertisement from when it was advertised to be sold, but never was able to locate
There's never an agreement.
I didn't have one of my records. When we
We
went
just
through
took it
that.
over and that's theirs, or had nothing to do with it after that.
Huh. But there was no transfer or anything? No, an
Well,
agreement?
yeah, they transferred the tank to them,
Yeah.
and some of them, the farm out there, back there, that goes.
But no operational agreement agreed to there.
But they run the line from 7 hours, I think it's a 14-inch line or something. But since that, they tied the whole farm in down there and everything else. And that wasn't,
I mean, they have the obligation, whatever, when the Public Utility Commission
Sure.
grant.
Sure. Huh.
They need to maintain a minimum of 20 PSI.
At all times.
Is that a state requirement, Anthony?
And at what point? In other words, what point is that point? Is that at their
That's at
meter?
your tap. I think that's
Tap?
at your tap, yeah.
What do you mean by tap?
When you open the water, you should, I mean, that's where, I think underneath that, you get into very close to where the boil water advisory comes in, you're not having enough pressure.
Right, the only reason I say at what point is because, you know, like, if I go in and I wanna put an irrigation system.
Yeah.
I test the PSI at the meter,
Right.
right there at that relief
Yeah.
valve.
Then
That's the tap that I would think that they have, cause whatever I do in my internal
It's in
pipes
your
is
house,
my
yeah.
business.
Yeah, I'm sure
It
it's
may
wherever
not
it comes
produce
in
20
your house.
pounds.
I'm sure it's wherever it comes in your house.
Thank you.
You can't go up to the 4th story of your house and put, you know, and have.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make
Yeah.
clear on that, you
Yeah.
know. There's a point where you have a relief valve right by your backflow and your meter. That's the point where they'd have to maintain the 20, if that's what.
It should be around, that's.
It's not up in your bathroom or,
Makes sense.
because trust me, my water pressure sucks. I can count my water by minutes per gallon, not gallons per minute.
So I also suggested, Jason, maybe come to the communications committee next meeting, we could talk more about a survey. Cause that was something that they brought up at the conference of doing surveys of citizens, we can maybe come up with an idea for how that looks or how we can at least talk about it.
And then once you figure out the survey and how you want to go about that, let me know, and then I do think that would be something strong to put into a demand letter.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would, as I think Dan said, it would add teeth to it for sure, so,
Okay.
yeah, that would be great, thank you.
When you talk about the survey, the trouble we ran into, but other things is renters. Because all of that communication goes to the people who own the property,
Gotcha.
not the people who are renting. So we need to think about
Think about renters.
reaching out to
Okay.
the renters.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, time frame doesn't allow it, but having something like, Carnival would be a perfect time to ask, but obviously it's kind of much
Yeah,
too
but
much.
that's filled with non-citizens.
Now, you have.
But then again, we really aren't concerned with the citizens. We're concerned with the
We'll come up with
township as
something.
well.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanna think of a good strategy, so I think we'll discuss it at the communications committee, maybe attack it different ways. I do think the carnival's probably too soon, although it's a great idea.
Unless you do a survey.
And-
You could do that.
Yeah, we could. And with us having reach with the Facebook page and stuff, it's possible we can, tell people, go take the survey if we need to. And they will, cause it's their water pressure, so they care.
Okay.
else on that topic?
Okay.
Okay, alright, no update on Baltimore Solar, obviously we had a discussion last meeting as far as, any changes to the existing, bonding. That information was passed along and received, so no changes since then. Parking lot, discussion, we have gone through internal reviews, and we've had some breaks with our stormwater drainage out here in the parking lot, so we had survey come back out. We're doing a little bit of regrading to make sure we're getting water away from the building. Currently, I have some stormwater flow that's coming off the hill that's going into the building. We're making sure that's getting updated and changed. Speaking with our construction manager, he has made me aware that asphalt prices are the highest they have ever been in the past 5 years right now. So the recommendation on his end was to hold bidding process until November, bid in November for December opening, and then construction in April. Just to get you guys kind of aware, March, this is for our area, asphalt was $588. It is now up to $778. So you are at the highest it's ever been in the past 5 years. That is expected to come back down probably around the low 600s. That's kind of average for when it starts out. 500 is pretty low, but low 600s is what we're estimating early next year. So,
What was your original cost database?
what we based our costs off of what we receive in bids. Whenever we do, obviously, the work and we bid on a project, we'll take an average of all the bids back, and that's how we get our cost estimated.
Sure.
What our cost estimated probably was based on was probably about 600. Based upon what we have the past year, that's when the grant was done.
Yeah, because our last purchase of asphalt was for Orange.
I'm sure that's. Yeah, but we use all of ours, any bids that we do throughout the company, we have to choose together, so.
Makes sense, so it's not for the members, but it makes sense.
We did talk about for the parking lot, that we wanted to get the playground
Yep.
in place before we start working on it.
And the schedule does run through the end of November.
So how does that impact the grant money that we have?
So your Marcellus Shale grant is what will be running out the end of this year. That's the 27,000. Our recommendation would be to use that to fund your, I think that's what we had discussion previously, to use that to fund the program. That is directly in line with what that Marcellus Shale grant is for. Obviously, we have utilized it. But what we applied for was to turn this parking lot into grass area. With that not being utilized, and that's gonna be paved, use the money to pay for the park. That's directly in their wording, award letter, it's for rehabilitation of parks, open space, etc.
Does that count as part of our,
It could be part of your match.
And we've been getting bills from the playground for, I guess,
For
any
engineering.
work that they're doing. Can that be used towards the grant?
Should be able to, yes. Any funds incurred after, the grant is awarded.
we've been putting that against our grant billing, right?
I haven't,
That was in my instructions.
the billing has just now come in.
Okay, well, that we would do that,
Yeah,
that's fine, okay, if we have it, the timeframe isn't right yet, that's fine.
no, I haven't
And the
submitted
billing
any
for that,
reimbursement
for
yet.
Ann's time and for his time that has been designated towards that. We also have some special needs out of that particular subject that I'll get into in a minute too. But, so if that answers your question.
Yes,
The billing should go,
Yeah.
be going to that as designated, part of the survey is going towards that.
Got it.
Any other questions?
Not on that particular subject.
Alright.
I'm down at the bottom there.
Yep, that's fine. We discussed at the last planning commission meeting, the data center vape shop language. I believe the vape shop is pretty close to being finalized. buffer area was decided around, special receptors, playgrounds, churches, schools, ambulance structures would be, I think, a minimum of 550 feet. It was limited to the mixed use zone. So everything up this way, 550 feet away from this building and parks would be the minimum separation distance. So there would be parcels available, but it would obviously be moved from this area in the downtown.
So that would be, say, past Willow Street, which is zoned. Anyway.
Yep. So it's not much different, but if something were to come in, a park or something would come in, there would still be protection if there's any change. Data centers, the discussion on that was, they would like to keep the data centers opposite to the industrial zone. We all know it's a small area, encompasses only about 5 or so parcels, some of those are partial parcels. The language we received from the YCPC, their recommendation was 200-foot setbacks. As we explained to the planning commission, there's no parcel within that area. We would have a 200-foot setback. We provided with some examples of what a 100-foot, 75, and 50-foot setback would look like. Obviously, that's not ideal because it's industrial up against residential. 100 foot still wouldn't work. There would be no developable area. 50 is a major concern, in my opinion, to put something like that so close. 75 foot is probably the minimum we would be able to do to actually build a building. And when I say build a building, we're looking at maybe 4,000 square feet. We are currently working on additions to the ordinance that can restrict the size based upon the current population, as well as working on screenings and buffers within that 75-foot setback, and those will be presented to the commission. So, some of those things are a 10-foot earthen berm, some sound attenuating walls that you may see alongside the highway, that would be either steel or concrete, as well as large plantings such as arborvitae and deciduous trees, to help attenuate the sound as well as give a visual screen.
That's what. There, next week.
Correct, that would be presented at the next meeting for discussion.
Right, so brings us down to the engineering base plate design for the gazebo outside. Everything's going what?
I saw it, I think I know what you're talking about.
So, Ann has asked us to make sure that we get engineer and Ghost.
Yep.
Has made sure, asked us to, get engineering done for permitting purposes for the gazebo. And what I have done here is download it and print it, that I didn't realize was half of the manufacturer's website. The manufacturer will not respond because it is a reuse of their art, so we need to have it engineered again.
Yep.
What I'm gonna show you is half of it, you can go on the website and see
That's
the other
right.
half, that
Yeah.
just is a base plate with concrete cover.
Right.
This is not the exact one,
Okay.
but it's a reasonable facsimile of what this polygon is, alright? The website has more, I downloaded a CAD drawing that I will email you, and I didn't do it, I warned you.
No, that's correct. Okay.
Because we have an account, no, kind of, we have an account to demo for stuff.
Fair enough, okay. These are trying to get those.
To get that done.
Yeah, when you decide that.
It can be out after the bidding, because we're gonna do, the intent is to leave this out of the bid as a time of returns.
Okay.
Until I get commitments from the people that promised, to pour the concrete, and that type of thing, we're gonna do it that way as opposed to part of the mass bid. That was her recommendation, I think it's a wise idea. Because there's too many unknowns for them using, stuff.
Yeah.
So we get the rates from them, they'll either be acceptable rates or not.
Understood. All right, yeah, I will look at those structural requirements, which is something
Yeah, and I'll send you a picture of what the base looks like now. It's basically a bunch of holes in the bottom of it. Can easily be, have a, base plate connection.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't
And
be a
then
problem.
we want to know what footer and
Size, yeah, depth you need, concrete wise, and, yep, flags, et cetera. Yep, I will get that to hands of the structural department.
thank you. And I mean, the gentleman that did the stuff at the bank, perfect candidate for that, from what I can see.
Yeah, I'll
There
reach
are
out to
others
John.
as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll reach out to John or Andy. Already.
I mean, he made short work of what I thought was gonna be some phenomenal expense. And it was done.
Yep,
Yeah.
he does good work.
Thank you for that. I will further that communication. I will also, I'll wear you a report, pin you down, giving me 3 to 4 dates that we can continue on to our grant and, sign these discussions. Because I know everything that's happening inside my family and vacations, et cetera, I was pursuing this many deaths in the family.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, I'll get you 3 to 4 days. You have to do it, Dan.
Like I said, I'll send you that tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah.
CAD drawing, sure. Hopefully it's not half.
Oh, I think you get them enough, we can find them.
Yeah. And materials are sitting down in front of the shed. You
Okay.
can easily see the baseball too.
Good point.
It's 8 nights. That's all I have is, any other questions or comments for the engineer? Thank you for the great work. Zoning.
Okay, for June, permit applications, I received one, issued one, year-to-date 9. Rental registrations, that's continuously ongoing. Zoning cases, again, J.E. Myers, we have their extension through August 3rd. I will contact Doug, my contact at warehouse, to request an extension maybe through January. I think it's ridiculous just to keep on 30 or 60 days, but I will discuss that with him. 68 Baltimore Street, I have filed a complaint on the 29th of June for the 3 automobiles. I also mailed him a notice of violation for his grass and weeds, and also for the International Property Maintenance Code, as well as the nuisance violation. Just so happens he called me July 1st. So I met with him July 2nd. We got to know each other a little bit. He understands what he's gotta do. So, you gotta walk before you can run. So I gave him like 2 weeks into July to get rid of the 3 cars. And then we'll take a look at his property, his maintenance, and go from there. But I think we established a relationship between each other anyway. So we'll see how that works.
He was mowing today.
Yes, he was. And you know, the other day when I was there, he was mowing until his mower broke down. And the guy across the road's fixing it for him, but he has a second mower. And yes, he's working very hard at mowing. I think he understands what's at stake right now. Because the complaint that I filed was for $12,000. So I think that should get somebody's attention.
We have numerous concerns, both through the community taxing and, sewer on that property. But at this point, it's probably pretty extensive across the board. Solicitor, can you check into the current state of the lien on the property? Because we have a lien on it, taxation wise. The borough, the sewer authority has seriously considered going to, it's a proper term, act on their lien. to seize. So far they haven't, but combined, taxation will move ahead probably faster. If Oops, what was that situation? With that, if we can bring that back to us, at least to the list, or even communicating, fine, that way the borough knows, that way the sewer authority.
He seems to be spending a lot of time in his truck. That has air conditioning where his house doesn't.
For years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not anything.
I get it, I do. On another note, 7 and 9 Hanover Street, we probably all noticed that poison oak and poison ivy is being removed from his property. He also got rid of the big tree limbs that were out back at the property blocking the road. He's continuously working on that as well.
I wanted to let you know that I did get resident, comments that they were glad to see that. And they appreciate your help in getting that to happen and working with him, so.
And I spoke with him about his antique car sitting out there.
Mm.
He needs to clean his garage out in order to get the car in his garage. He's got that canopy that's toppled over. He needs to get help in order to move that out of the road. So I can feel his pain, because I don't have a lot of help in my property either. And I gotta request help, so I understand where he's coming.
I have one question.
Mhm.
Now that the odds is down, do you think the structure is sound?
I-
Can we hold up his wall?
I didn't look at it that close, but I have seen shutters that look like they're gonna fall off. Really?
Yeah, but there was an ivy holding it back.
Yeah, I know.
It does look a lot better. It does look a lot better, you know. We need to get the stuff across the alley, but the house looks a lot better.
Yeah. So he is desperately working on it. 13 Berlin Street, that guy, that's a tenant living there, and the owner of the property is gonna continue with eviction on July 10th. The DJ threw it out of court until July 10th so he can refile for an eviction notice. There's still a lot of junk out back. It's no garbage, but it's a lot of junk. I was just there the other day. That's all I have. Oh, planning commission meeting? Yes. I will contact the planning commission to find out if we're gonna have enough people there for a quorum. If we don't have a quorum, then we'll probably delay it for a month.
I was just gonna say that you're gonna have a hard night because it's fireworks night at the carnival, so.
Oh, that made it even worse. I brought up
Yeah.
the carnival part, but I didn't realize what, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that just makes the meeting go faster.
It might, well,
Well,
yeah.
it's true, it's before it's starting. But if they're helping,
Yeah.
and I don't know how many of them participate, but probably a good deal.
Yeah. You won't have much, public either, which is not a hindrance to the planning committee, but.
That's all.
Thank you. I'll ask you to stay through the secretary's report, / cash flow, and if there's any questions beyond that, I will go down through my notes here and check as we do it. So, cash flow report, financial report review.
I move the cash flow report.
And is there a second? Second, motion and a second of accepting the cash flow report as published here in the package. Any questions or further comments needed on that report?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I know it sounds like a broken record, but for 6 months, I've requested to have this before, 15 minutes before the meeting, to actually go over it. And I still haven't gotten an answer if that's gonna happen, and I think the mayor mentioned it before too. We're getting access to all this sooner than 15 minutes before the meeting.
Sure.
Cause I'm approving it, and I'm not even having time to read it, so I don't even know what I'm saying yay to.
Well, and I want you to review it. I don't think we ever have a problem with reviewing and accepting this report and taking the entire next month to review anything that we have questions on and coming back with them. Because it's an ongoing, moving thing. If we see expenditures that we have questions about, yes, we should certainly be asking those questions. No one should ever have an objection to those questions being raised. Okay? And I understand about your time frame, but don't feel like you're confined to that time frame of here of the 15 minutes either. Okay? To question this.
Well, you can come early.
Sure.
I have come early and I've been told the packet's not ready.
Well, it depends on when you come, but
I've asked Monday mornings.
sometimes, and I can tell you this because of the way the banks report their money. If they have not gotten to the end of the month, that's just the way their banking dates fall, then we won't have a complete report. We could have a report, but it wouldn't be accurate. So at times like that, sometimes that's the way it works. So if I come to Connie and I say, do you have my green folder? Because I see the green folder, which is a little bit different, but it all gets consolidated on that report. And I ask her, she will tell me whether that bank has reported the full thing of the month or not. If it's not, then I wait until the date when it will report.
And do understand that it is reviewed by she's the finance committee. She's reviewing those transactions ahead of time as well. Jason and everybody here, we want all these finances to be as clear and as plain as anything. Nothing to be hidden in this, ever.
That's a good point, just as far as like best practices for reviewing information prior to meetings. So, something we can look at down the road is we're making a lot of progress in just the 6 months that things have been changed. And it's something we can look at down the road too, but I do know that it is sort of a best practice to have the information in a packet to review prior to the day of the meeting. Whether we have done that or not, it is done. And we could maybe look at changing that down the road. It would be helpful to, we could maybe be more efficient during the meetings then, if people have time to review stuff sooner. Yeah.
Again, we're not constrained
I
by
know.
those 15 minutes. Just want to make that clear.
It's a good point, I appreciate that too.
It is when I don't have access to the building.
And you don't have access to what?
The building. How am I supposed to get information if I can't get into the building?
Okay. Get in the building upon request and or during the normal hours. No restrictions. The only restriction that we've ever placed on that is keys. Okay. All right, so, motion is second, we've had some discussion on it. Any further discussion needed? All those in favor of accepting the cash flow report as published here in your package, say yay, aye, acknowledge.
Aye.
All those opposed, those that vote aye. We will carry unanimous. The cash flow report is accepted as published. Okay, so, I don't see any other reason. We're gonna bring more budgetary tax information next meeting. This is more based on warning, be prepared type of thing here, that we're gonna try to get prepared for budget discussions, possible fire tax information, which is in here. I'm only bringing this up because that's the only thing that I could see that we might want information from solicitor for, but I'm gonna ask our solicitor to, bring examples of prior ordinances that I think is, that have been accepted in other communities for that next meeting for them to look at for our budget meetings.
Okay.
Anything else for the engineer, zoning, or solicitor?
The only thing under zoning, did we touch on the traffic sign obstruction, Lucas and Emerson? It's on the agenda, if I missed it.
It's on the agenda for me to remind him.
Okay, that's fine, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Thank you. We did, I didn't bring that up, it's currently obstructed, and I put it in there so I wouldn't forget to bring it up.
Fair enough.
And I saw it on the agenda earlier, so I went to look at it tonight before the meeting, so I understand what it is.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Just a quick question before solicitor leaves.
Yep.
I just want to verify, so I don't do anything incorrectly against the policies that the borough has implemented. So, per my discussion earlier, you stated for me to reach out to you with a letter about what topics and about the executive session.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a formal letter,
Okay.
email is fine.
An email is fine.
Yeah.
So based off the current policy, I do not have permission to contact you. So, since we're all in public, I am requesting permission from our president to contact the solicitor via email.
Yeah, that's understood when we had that discussion, but yes, you do. Thank you for the clarification. I heard the conversation, I don't have any objection. Okay? Actually, I asked you to clarify it tonight, Jason. Okay. So, you have it. Yeah, I believe he flew away too. Didn't see him go up. I think we're good? Everyone for their dismissal, shall we say? Thank you.
Thank you.
Take some iced tea, please.
I'm gonna get some
Some
sort of
home for
caffeine.
kids, whatever. Plenty there. Yeah, and please, help yourself.
Let's say that.
Sweet tea, regular tea, green tea.
Next time we need a caffeine supplement. Maybe that's just me.
Thank you all for your patience and all the participation. This is wonderful stuff. So the Sewer Authority, we kind of gave you some update. We did not have a meeting this past because there was not an agenda deemed necessary to meet over. In the meantime, we've had some storm damage that is being handled by the manager through some power lines, and have lost power, but we're on backup generator. That'll also go into the, much as it did before, into the insurance. So, the additional expenditures to the authority itself. And I think that's all it's pending at that point. There was a meeting, I will give you this, there was a meeting in between with the developer about what they intended to do and when they intended to bring up to speed and to plan the road that connects their our right-of-way road to the sewer authority's road. There's a gap in there right now, it has a culvert and is basically causing trouble to get through, that we've had to take numerous repairs on through the winter to make sure it was clear for the trucks to get in and out. And, so they are, modifying their culvert design to comply and get that paved, within the next year. So, doubt that it'll be by the winter, but either way, it's a problem. Next time I'm sending them a bill for stone, if it doesn't.
That's what I was wondering, who
Yeah.
paid for those repairs?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we did that in an emergency situation, to be honest with you, because they had to get the truck back there after that last snow from past. So we're working on it. That's from the sewer authority. We're up to the mayor's report.
Alright. I apologize, it looks like we didn't get any mayor's reports printed for the public, but I will, if you don't have time to do it now, I can just post it, I can email it and post it online, or if that's fine, it doesn't matter. But I'll follow up on it if you, but it's fine. So I will share it. Is it okay if I share it with you, the post on the Facebook page?
of course, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so as Dan said, one of the updates was the York Water Company hydrant flow testing. A while ago, I had reached out to York Water Company per Dan's request to try to get that moving, and they did finally respond and let us know that they'd be coming out today, July 8th, to do the hydrant flow testing on all the hydrants in the borough. So that did happen. Troy Snyder did reply that that was done today and that they would have a report to us within about a week. So that's a good step.
Did they, to test that, did they have to do something with each individual hydrant?
I
Because
don't
mine,
know
the one across the street
100%.
from me was not touched.
Okay, I'm gonna wait and see what I would suggest we wait and see what's in their report to see if it outlines specific hydrants or not, and then we can ask that question if it doesn't. But I'm gonna give them the chance to provide information first.
Did their information say they were going to do something with 9?
Yeah,
That's how many?
that's what I believe I
There
saw
were 9
too.
in the community that they were going to check.
But we left it up to Troy to determine the hydrants that they were doing, so that did go through him for his input.
Because I don't know that the one across the street from me has been open in 30 years.
Okay,
I've never noticed that it has been.
Okay. we'll find out.
Don't know if that's an issue or not.
So more to come.
Okay.
So we all know the carnival's coming up. That's the really big event. It is the week of the 13th through the 18th. Lots of PR on the website about that and different Facebook pages. So the other upcoming event, I don't know if we'll have, I think we will have our meeting right before the event, but just in case I wanted to mention it, is National Night Out is August 4th. So that's a Tuesday, I believe. I got some last minute updates on other events. The fire company has a sub and pizza sale going on right now. They have a phone number for orders. I'll add this to my report that I share too, so you have the phone number. The orders are due by August 10th, and then pickup is August 25th. So that's for pizza and subs, I believe. Also, I'll put this in following reports, but September 26th is the next pit sale, pit beef event. And then you probably all saw on Facebook the bell ringing as well. They did that to celebrate the 250th on July 4th. That was pretty cool. Do you want me to do the communications committee updates in this whole thing as well? There's a bunch. Okay, we'll follow with the communications committee updates. So next meeting for communications committee is July 20th at 7. It's open to the public. Feel free to come and give your input. There's a couple of information for the council to review in your packet from the communications committee. First thing is a draft of the newsletter, a tentative draft, and thank you to Gwen for getting that all in a template and information available to everybody. The hope is if you review this tonight, it is on the agenda that we could approve it to go in the sewer bills for July with your approval tonight. So, no pressure.
The amendment.
I can do, I'll just do a motion.
Well, you can do a motion, and we're gonna need to amend the motion.
Yeah, sure. I wanted you to review it for any changes or corrections that we can make, and we can do that, before they go to Connie to put in the.
The only amendment that I'd like to see if we can go ahead and take some room to do the, sitting dates for the taxation.
Okay.
Yeah, if
Can you word that?
the dates that the tax collector is
Sitting.
here,
Sitting dates.
yes.
Got it. Okay.
Sitting dates. There are 6 of them in September, at the time, right as the taxes go into the full. The sitting dates are prior to that full value being.
Does
Most
one
of our-
have the dates, or can you get the dates to one?
I can get them tonight and put them on here.
Perfect.
Yes.
She'll send it.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm gonna go on there, actually, probably tomorrow, I should be able to.
Awesome.
Just a small blur.
Right, well, I was gonna say, actually,
Little
yeah.
string something, yeah.
Right, would you prefer it being on the front?
It does not matter, just that information is helpful, I think, to some.
Okay, oh no, I agree it is, I never even thought of that or looked at it.
What do you got to add, Frank? Anything?
I just laughed, I said we gotta have it out before the
I
car.
wasn't sure when, didn't know when the sewer bill was going out.
Sewer bill goes out, what, the end of the month?
Oh, you can have it.
It'll be in the next week or so.
So, not
I
for
know.
the carnival.
No,
Yay, not for the carnival.
no, I mean, I didn't get anything.
Yes, you did.
So she can do a bill. So she has to download the data and then push it through our system.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no, okay.
I have a
We
question.
don't wanna rush them.
I have a question on the sewer, the trash collectors.
Yes.
Have we had any trouble? I know sometimes the times have been different when they pick up, but have they had any time when they didn't pick up?
Not that, I don't think so, maybe, I mean, a year or two ago, when they were having like major shortages, and that's why I was thinking this might have been on here from back when they were having
Well,
shortages.
I would say other boroughs have some,
Right, yeah.
but
I think they're doing real good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe a
I don't
couple
think we have
weeks ago,
anything to
they
complain
didn't
about.
get it till like the afternoon, but that was.
yeah, that, I mean, it could be a time of day,
Right, right, yeah.
but they always pick it up on the right day.
Yeah.
And last week in Rural, I just got out there and do something.
And you have their website here, but you might wanna maybe put something, if you're in doubt of whether it's coming or not because of a holiday, their website will tell.
That's true.
Well, they can sign up for it and automatic email notice.
I get the emails every time they have a delay.
Yeah. And that's very helpful because sometimes you don't know if it's gonna be.
Yeah. Okay. That might be useful information.
So if you have to look at, like, making room for all these things,
Yeah.
you could take out the shortage of drivers.
Right, that is true, I could.
And then, 'cause we haven't had that trouble.
Right. Maybe too, just adding there that you can sign up for alerts.
Yeah. And that's simple perspective.
Right, yeah.
Any other updates anybody sees?
I see a couple little typos, yeah.
We're specifically, sometimes this thing has a mind of its own when I'm typing, so that's why I was like, if you see
Well,
I'm
something.
alone on that.
Yeah, and it doesn't always, I think because it changes it doesn't give me like the red line that it just like, it's like, oh yeah, you meant to put,
Yeah, well,
you
like
know.
I can see before, and that's what happened like before, at the top first sentence. They made it 2 words instead of.
Oh, yes, yeah, right there.
That's
Yes.
exactly what she does.
Where
Yes,
are you looking?
that's what, yeah, up the under road trash collection,
Okay.
5 p.m. the day before, yes.
Got it.
It's spelled correctly, so.
Right, exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's what I mean, it's,
Mm-hmm.
Could put an
it's
S.
definitely not how I typed it, but for whatever reason,
The
something happened.
underlined piece under zoning says, this ordinance
Required, yes,
requires.
yes.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want, I'll take it home. I don't care.
if you would like to, that's fine.
No,
But like I said, I also, I
I
mean,
don't think it's my
well,
place.
now that
I'm
it's
just
printed,
asking.
now that it's printed out, actually, I feel like I can read through it
Yes.
better once I'm seeing
Right.
it in my hand and make corrections, as opposed to looking at a screen, sometimes you just kind of skim over it,
Right.
you know.
Your eyes
And you
see
expect
what
it-
they expect to see.
Right, yeah, you expect it to tell you what's wrong.
Right.
Under the JCJSA sewer information, the second bullet is PAA programs and
That
actual
actually,
thing.
I think, no, it's PA, I think it is PA something else.
Okay,
I think PAC maybe, or because down here it says PAHAF. I'm pretty sure that's the proper thing, and that's
Yeah,
why.
you can just take out the PAA and just make
That's
it
true.
let it
Just say programs, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 'cause that's a good program, I hope, a handful of residents apply for that.
Okay.
Connie, do you wanna give, I know we said we had like a week or two, but do you wanna give a deadline as to when we need updates?
I can't give a deadline until I know how long it takes me to do the survey,
Okay.
and I haven't gotten it yet.
This is the 8th. I would anticipate we should have it after till the 15th.
I would imagine it'd be the beginning of next week, and then
Okay.
I will try to get.
She has to process everything.
Yeah,
so-
I
Alright,
understand.
well then I think I just put the tax date thing on the list.
I'm just trying to help run with like when we need to have them done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, maybe try for the end of this week?
Yeah, oh no, yeah, like I said, I should be able to work on it tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for the hard work. Wow. I know
I mean,
there's
you're
more hard work than you
you're
do.
definitely safe by Monday, because I don't see them, I mean, I'm not gonna be here Friday.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna be out, so
okay, got it.
at least by Monday,
She's not gonna send it out without the vote.
I don't know.
Simple as that.
There's bills need to go out.
Yeah.
I did have a request if you could, besides sending in the sewer bills, if we could print some extra copies and put it in the post office, maybe have some up at the borough.
Yeah, that's what normally happens.
Yeah, I didn't know what normally happens, so just in case people that don't, like, for the renters or people that don't get a sewer bill, they can have a copy of the newsletter. Alright, so the next thing from the communications committee, you should have 2 quotes in here. This is for signage for the borough sign that was damaged a while ago. Now, this is only from one company. It's just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. We still have to get, well, the plan is to get at least 2 more bids from other companies to compare. But you have 2 options here, and that is because you've got one that's using the existing posts and one that's complete new posts, depending on if they have to be replaced or if we can use existing.
Are they in any, what condition are they in?
They won't know until they come out and do the site,
The vinyl
the
side,
site, survey.
the vinyl side, they're old. And it's been exposed to sun for long. That's why it gave way in the first place.
Gotcha. Okay, so then we may be looking at just to do the option with the new post. But this, just to be clear, because it doesn't specifically say on here, but this is for the post and panel option that we looked at a couple months ago where we had photos of which option are you kind of looking for. So this is the cheaper of the options, the post and panels, what we had before. So if that helps.
So, you have a description.
Yeah.
proposal of the mechanism, that is, whatever ACM board is, any questions, I'm sure, but
I do have a spec sheet to tell you what that is exactly if you want it.
at a given point, yes.
Okay.
But, what I'm gonna ask the committee to do at this point then is to consolidate specs and send them out to others for combination. And, in the same respect, at some point or another, we may need to be paying for graphics to be produced to get approval to.
So these quotes include the design.
Right.
So if we have artwork that we can use, that will be covered. Now, if you need to get new artwork and new graphics created, that will not be covered. So this would be these quotes would include for us to give them artwork that we already have, and they will design it and give us options to approve a design. So far what I've got, just for everybody's knowledge, I have this logo in electronic form, and I've got artwork from the Historical Valley Society. I'm saying that wrong, but you know what I mean. I have artwork that they provided that we can use to create a design. Yeah. So design would still be determined because there's a couple of rounds of design here, a couple of options of design that we would be looking at before we make a choice. And they can do things like typesetting. They don't need us to design that. They can do that kind of stuff. But if we need to use specific graphics or something, you can either give that to me and I can provide it to them, or we'd have to look at converting it into a usable graphic.
And at the level you're at right now, cost-wise, all we're at is phone bids. You understand what I mean by that?
You're at what?
Phone bids. In other words, we have to get two other
Yes.
people to submit
Understood.
something
Yep.
in a reasonable size to this spec.
Yep.
And then we can take action from there
Correct.
with the graphics and the whole bit.
Understand.
Go through the process.
Yes, I have instructed no design work until we have something.
Yeah, and, that way we can see, not necessarily low bid, we wanna
Yep.
see the best bid.
Exactly.
Okay, so,
Yep.
go out to your competitors.
I will. I think this was a good exercise because it helped us consolidate specs
Yeah,
for what we can now ask other companies.
absolutely.
So,
That's what I'm saying, you now have specs, you have something that you can present,
yeah.
as a, or you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so more to come on that. The last one is audio and visual options that Faith spent a lot of time working on those options as well. This is more for I want you to review the information maybe we can talk about next time because it is a lot of information. It's not on, it is on the agenda, but there's nothing mentioned about a vote of any kind or a choice that needs to be.
No.
So,
That's
I think it's.
where you're at to get us to the point where we
Yeah.
can start the conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I think there's varying options from using, what the Jefferson Fire Company uses currently as one option, to having an official vendor come in to the tune of $7,000 and installing a complete audio-visual setup. So, there's a few options to look at.
I do want to say that was made at the prison,
Oh, yeah?
through Pennsylvania prison.
Okay.
They have a shop,
Mhm.
and we got in contact with them through PSAB, but, they made that. And they do make furniture and stuff.
Cool.
And so, I don't know if they make something, but that's, at least they know how to make that.
Yeah,
Which actually is not special to Jefferson.
sure.
The
It's,
symbols
yeah.
are, a lot of the state, people have that same thing. Because I looked into it thinking, they've got a boat on our Jefferson picture. But that's because it's used from the government, different government and things.
I I noticed, Connie, you got a different graphic that was on the borough page at some point this week. I don't know if that's in a format we can use, but something like that's an option too, if we wanna look at that for a design element as well. Yeah, I know, it's hard because like, stuff that AI can create is not necessarily something you can replicate in a sign, cause it's much bigger, but we can try. If it's
Well, the
something that,
council would have to approve that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was just something I was playing.
Well, we have a CAD version of the seal too, right?
this
Gifted
one,
to us?
or,
Yeah.
that's the one that I've already had.
Yeah, okay.
sent.
So, you kind of, I'm assuming these quotes are from an individual company at this point, is that correct?
So
Or
these,
are these,
she didn't,
conglomeration
she
of-
didn't include company names because it was information that was being shared, she didn't wanna, go against their wording in their quotes that say not to share private information kind of thing, but, we can,
One of the things they have to understand if they're bidding to the government.
yeah, I gotcha. So,
But anyway.
what I would suggest is probably to contact, we can get in touch with Faith to get the actual quotes they sent her.
Well, and this synopsis, this scenario is exactly what we want from the
Yeah,
commission.
yeah.
So, what we might want to do is, who we view at least as the most competent or whatever out of these, maybe that they bring a presentation to us
Okay,
at some point in the near future anyways.
yeah.
And then for our better understanding across the board, you guys have done this hard legwork now,
Mhm.
you know? And you've relieved all the rest of us of that, you know? So if we can kind of concentrate that, now that doesn't mean that they're gonna be successful, but they can present their ideas. Just as we brought in Savvy Citizen and some other things.
Yeah, like
You
you
know.
said, there's a couple of options here as far as we buy our own option. We get something off of Amazon, and then there's two that are really bringing in a very specific system. So that's for council to decide which way you wanna go, and then if you go with one of those options, you could, I'm sure, bring it in.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I have for you as far as, updates. I did wanna say, you all got the update on Savvy Citizen. It's not on the agenda to make a motion or do anything with it, but it's there if you wanna put it on the agenda for future. I think that's all I have. Anybody, do you have anything for it?
I just, did we need some sort of vote on the newsletter, or is it just?
No. We'll get Savvy Citizen on the next meeting. And we do have information on that, right, folks, that thing, and have discussion about it at that point.
I had some contact from PSAB reached out to me from Savvy Citizen to Connie. I know you already had a contact, but if you want me to connect you with them, I don't know, they reached out and were like, we know you're interested in Savvy Citizen. If you wanna have us come in or do anything, let us know. So I said we were having our next meeting today, and could we maybe have an update from
Good
that?
sales guys, that's
Yeah.
good. They're following up.
So if you want, I can get that person's information to you as well.
Yeah. Remember that, we already have some kind of contact. with them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably commissions, who knows? Okay.
I wondered when I looked at the Savvy Citizen, you and I talked about it, it seemed like a lot of, initially, for what we would want it to do, I mean, you have to use those add-ons and the plugins or whatever they call it. And if the price keeps going up and up and up. So I just wondered, what the committee was suggesting as far as all of that stuff.
So I think that the main, we see value in the service for sure, but the main concern that was brought up is, would it be utilized for the money? And, you know, maybe if we did move forward with it, it would be like on a year trial basis or something to see if we did utilize it enough to warrant the cost.
Well, just as far as for me, I'd like to see what you guys think of the different choices as to
Okay.
what you would expect, so we're really looking at a price. Because the initial price, I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's not bad. But then you have to pay a whole lot up front, and then pay the initial price, and then for all the things like the alerts and all those different things.
I think we did discuss a little bit what we felt was
You don't get-
reasonable and what wasn't. When do you
Exactly.
remember, I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think one of the options we said we probably didn't need, but it was, I think it did add like $200 or $300
Yeah,
on
it
top
keeps
of like the
getting-
$800 that it's.
Right.
Right, one of them was, there was a plug-in to be included in like the state or federal emergency notices, which it was an additional fee. We felt we didn't need that because that is something that's notified to the public in many different formats. We wouldn't necessarily need that as a borough. I can't remember the other, but
I think it was the other one,
we can
the
bring it back for
attachment.
next time if you want.
Right, I think the other was an attachment to the website, like a link directly
Yeah.
from the website to it, that we weren't sure if we would or wouldn't need, or how even putting it on.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just let us know what
Okay.
you are recommending of those things.
And,
Whether, cause when you start adding those plugins, it gets real expensive, that gets into me, but.
Yeah, okay.
And then, as far as utilization goes, I'm hoping for the program that we are designating how that is operated, you know, like who operates it,
Mhm.
and the responsibilities of, you know, who I need to include in my new budget, our new budget, you know, other employment services. Make sure that happens, because this may be an expenditure too that we're encountering with that, to make it accurate communication and do the job it's supposed to do, to warn us again that there's a storm, that there's power lines down, that the sweepers come in, that
Yeah.
whatever. Because right now, we don't got it. So, we need that kind of recommendation out of it too, I think. You know, how much time is it gonna take to operate? You know,
I mean, I don't know that
we can, that's something they should be able to help you,
the savvy citizen people,
tell you how much time is required to operate it. What level of, you know, okay,
Well,
I'm
you said- you
I'm
said-
not reading, I'm misleading you here somehow. I can see it in your face.
I think
So-
they're gonna say it's what you do with it, cause the borough makes the updates. So it's, if you have a person to do it, it's gonna be their resources.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be hard, they're gonna train us on how to do it,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be easy to use, but it's gonna be whether you have some person allocated to put the updates on there.
Okay.
And it's gonna be how much time you want them to put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be their answer.
Okay. Well,
But I
that's
was
fine.
thinking, you've never had somebody from Savvy Citizen come into your committee.
No, but you guys have
We
said
had-
several
we
times that
had-
you had them in here, right?
Yeah,
Once,
but, well, they're not in person, we have
Okay.
them on video.
yeah, it's a video
Right.
chat.
So I just thought if there are questions you can't answer, then can't
I
tell
think they
you.
would love to come out and give us a presentation if you want that again.
I don't think we want it, I mean, for myself, I don't want it here, but for your committee, it might be something that you might.
I don't think it's something that we need to decide. I think it's what the council needs to decide.
And I think, if I understand right, some of you guys are utilizing it for no communities, is that correct? So you're familiar, so that's helpful. Yeah, and then I know at one point or another, we were talking about access for other entities like the fire company or whatever.
Mhm.
Have we approached them to any interest?
Mhm.
Should we? Well, yeah, I could do it.
No, I mean, I'm asking, do you want me to approach them?
I think that was an added cost, or could we just
I
add
can-
them?
I can
Well,
double check.
that's what I was gonna say, to make sure that there's no limit on how many posts.
Yes, I think
Because
that was some
their
of it.
Facebook page is like.
I think that was the communication committee's concern, was because they are just posting stuff nonstop, that will it be overkill on people not paying attention to things that are.
And that we don't want people to delete it or get rid of it
Yeah, because
because it's too much information.
Yeah, because I silence my notifications since we don't use it as a borough, because the Northern Regional posts constantly stuff, like road closures that are nowhere near
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and their daily police blog and, things like that, and, it's,
Yeah, so we don't.
it does get to be a lot if there's,
Unless,
Sure.
as long as there's not a
Right.
limit of posting or sending text out, and then
Right.
maybe they can just send like pertinent information that needs to be sent out to all the residents.
that could be, you can
Like,
just put
limit
put
what they
somebody in
send out.
contact,
Yeah.
like, hey, if
Yeah.
there's an emergency or something you need us to post, let us know.
So again, like,
Yeah.
from what I understand, you can give access to whoever you want to make these updates. So that can be controlled by the borough if need be. And if we need to have a policy around it, then we do that.
See, that's
But
what I was thinking, the policy might look into tonight.
it wouldn't affect this, cause Facebook is different than Savvy Citizen, but could it include that? I don't, sure, I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's different, I mean, it's still sending out information.
Yeah,
So-
I think you'd have to, like, maybe revise the policy a little bit to include it, but.
And we put a policy around the postings of that, because that is a one-way communication. I think our main intent is, for public safety above all with it. Not necessarily so much for, the Facebook, if we're gonna continue with Facebook, then that's social events and that type of thing, whereas that should be more focused, on things like road closures and emergencies and, yeah, so some public, can you put on the calendar to share a story about it? Probably not. Does that make sense?
So,
Okay.
so what do you want me to bring back for next time?
Thank you. Quote, your recommendation of level,
Okay,
okay?
so you've already seen the quote, but you can bring back the level of recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, what's that quote improved, that thing. So we'll get it on the, agenda for the motion next, with that information there in front of us for the next meeting. Okay. And further discussion, okay. Thank you for, again, that hard work committee. You are the hardest working committee we have.
You said it.
Thank you for it. Anything else on that committee?
No.
I guess I'll do the building and property and streets, sidewalks. Alright, so let's start with the Canon status. Sounds like they are moving forward into a foundry molding, casting mode here in the near future. He thought he might be having pictures to me today on that, but he was not able to get those, so more likely he's a cast. I know that they had to change castings, so it's taking more of a delay. Unfortunately, he gave a big apology that he can get it done for the 4th of July, but whatever, it isn't done. So, I'll move on. There's no change in the bank status. Not aware of any inquiries or anything like that that are pertinent to us. Okay?
Question on the bank, are they advertising it Cause I'm rarely seeing it.
What do you mean by
Like
advertising? What they-
listing it or advertising, like are they doing anything?
Sure, it's on, I believe, 3 different multi-listings.
Okay.
This
And they
one.
haven't had anyone?
Not that we're aware of. I mean, they're not reporting to me if they're showing it, but we didn't
But I'm
ask.
saying they haven't come to you saying someone's interested.
They, only did, make sure that they had a key for certain pictures or whatever, and so, yeah. So it's on their multi-listings, the regional ones, their commercial ones, the ones that they advertise in. That is their advertisement. They're not gonna list it in the paper, you know. Wouldn't do us or them any good either. And hopefully they're pursuing some of their independent. Okay, so playground, we touched on a little bit. So I already went over the fact that, we're gonna change the bidding opportunity to T&M extra for the gazebo installation and see how that rides out. That will not be part of the base bid. There are several other designated alternates that we went through with her. I know that we've got some delay on the bidding documents with solicitor's review, to make sure it's compliant. That has been done, that's back to her. We should be seeing those bidding documents. We can do one of two things with this. We can, go ahead and say, let's get it out to bid, quicker the better, if she gets it done here in the next couple of days, or we can defer into our next, August meeting, which will put us back a little bit behind. It didn't sound like she wasn't gonna be done until sometime the end of the week or the beginning of next, with these actual documents themselves to go out to bid. Any opinions on that? Should we move forward as quickly as possible with the bidding documents? So right now, we're still looking at ending this in November, which is the came to complete fruition.
Well, I think the playground holds up the parking lot.
Doesn't sound like it does anymore.
I think it's still.
But go ahead.
Because we don't want heavy construction stuff coming around the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to get the playground done.
Mhm.
And originally, when we met with her, she was looking at the end of summer. Right?
Yeah.
So I think we should try to hold her to that, so that we can get it down. So that when the prices come down on the asphalt, that we can actually get a parking. So that's mine.
Right.
And besides, we have a whole bunch of mulch.
Well, that's next on my subject list.
Well, but, you know, the mulches was the problem to begin with. We had to have mulch because it wasn't safe anymore. So, I just think we gotta move ahead.
Okay, so our, my two kind of choices there that I was trying to put out there is, do we wanna even wait for these big documents for us to vote on them, or do we want to say, hey, we can get them out there because she's inside her budget, the request that we did, what we authorized her to do as a bidding document already, and let her publish them?
Move ahead. Let me ask you this, if we agree to it and vote on it and all that stuff, and then we see something that provides us those things that we want to change, we still have the right to change.
We're gonna have the right to change those at any given point. And especially even after the bids come in. Hopefully it'll put enough choices in there for us and limitations on certain things that I view as expensive, that we may have other methods to utilize, that we'll have choices even when these bids come back. Does that make sense?
Yes, so that being said, I would like to vote that we move ahead so that we can get this project started. I think if we have to wait a whole nother month to again go, wait till she gets her stuff, and then we have to wait a month. We're gonna be well into the fall.
Mhm.
It's gonna be too parking lot will have to be spring or some other time, which it may have to be.
You wanna convert it to a motion?
I made that motion that we move ahead and we agree to what she has already presented to us, that is within budget. And move ahead and allow her to advertise and do whatever she has to do.
We have the right to reject any given board or change it.
So what are we waiting on her to show us?
She has to complete the bidding documents, that's all,
So she hasn't completed it.
not that I'm aware of.
No, because she didn't have all the information.
I'm not gonna vote yes if she hasn't completed the documents. So, yeah, well, that's voting for something that's not completed.
Well, we need a second.
We have a second?
It's been drug out how long? I'm getting tired of hearing about it. Right, it's how many years now we've been talking about
Yeah.
this? Oh, God.
So we're giving you a
I'll
second.
second it, let's get the thing going.
Further discussion on it. And Jason, I understand what you're saying. And I want to reiterate that it is inside the guidelines already given. So anything outside of that wouldn't be acceptable, and the whole bid could be rejected. Not, we have the right to reject it and turn it down completely, no matter what happens. Or modify it
It's not a
thereafter.
contract, we're just voting to
We're
move it along.
voting for it to be bid on. Right, we're not voting on acceptance of of the plan, or, well, we already accepted the plan, but voting on acceptance of a contract. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, further discussion, questions? All those in favor of moving forward with getting the bidding documents out to be advertised and bid on? Yay or nay?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
We have 4-4 and 4-1 against. When presented with those documents, motion carries. When presented with those documents, I will make sure that everybody gets an email of those. So, but now that we've carried that, keep on going with that. I'd say we have a safety gap there enough, if we need it. And I mean, we're dealing with a professional, this is what she does.
I know,
her
but
entire
we just
life.
voted on something that's obsolete, it's not there.
Yep. Yeah,
That's what you just voted yay for.
I
You
did.
voted
I
yay
voted-
on a thought.
Actually,
No,
she's
the information
provided us
already provided is what we voted.
drawings
Yeah,
and
but
everything.
you just said it's not completed,
Correct.
so it's
There are
incomplete.
certain, right, and what we're talking about is putting those bidding documents together. She's already got acceptance, from, the grant authority, from the solicitor on
It's fine.
the method
Not
that she's
explain.
using and the ability for them, so we have some
My
backup to
opinion.
that decision. Jason, I just don't want you to think that I'm basing my decision or my vote on something that's non-existent. That is not in fact the truth. I'm basing it on all the information I have available to me to enable us to move forward as quickly as possible. Thank you. I think that ends that. You already heard what I assigned the engineer to do for us to get the gazebo on. He's also asked us to put into the mix the additional area here to the side, and I will take that up with them both at some given point here in the near future to make sure that it gets coordinated. Okay, so from there, that ends that, unless there's any questions on property, streets, or sidewalks.
Question,
Yes.
on the street, and everyone has it in their folder. I had a resident reach out to me, regarding, they live on York Street, I won't say the resident's name, and they are very concerned, and I know a lot of the residents are very concerned. A lot of people are not stopping at the crosswalks. I maybe have one or two stop for me, but I say 95% don't stop for the people in the crosswalks. I'm very concerned somebody's gonna get hit. I have taken photos of people not stopping. I have not yet posted on Facebook because I do not want the attention. I was wondering if you or somebody, or the mayor, or the Jefferson Council can do something or post something on Facebook or bring it up at your meeting. Thank you for your input. And, like you said, just said on the playground, you wanna get things moving. But I've lived here for years, residents have lived here way longer than me, I've been on council for 6 months, and we're not even doing anything about the crosswalks, and that's been a very valid point as long as I've been on council. And what are we doing about the crosswalks?
Well, we've already investigated into signage for it, and the markings.
What are we doing? It's,
We're taking it to, much as I said with the engineer, I'm getting up with him. We're gonna put a plan together for at least the minimums in those areas.
question,
Yes.
is that borough property or is that state property?
Well, we have the right to do.
So why don't we just make our own crosswalks if we have the right to do it? Why don't we get bids out, hire a company to paint some crosswalks?
Good questions and valid concerns. That's what part of the plan is, to do that, to do those things as immediate as possible. And to still go after these grants that are possible for us.
That takes months and years.
That's correct, Jason. That's why I'm moving forward with the safety, much as I've said in many meetings here before. My concentration, we have money, is going to be the public safety of those areas as quickly as we can. Now, I've done some explanations in the signage. Gwen has helped me too. I'm gonna take it up with the engineer that we can build something that we can put a budget to and get out there for bidding. And I hope to have that together for us the next meeting. Go ahead. Yes, you.
Okay, we have discussed them a lot, you're right, and nothing has happened in the correct way. I thought that we were going to use Contact Spring Grove. Weren't we ready to see what they could do, the white strips down there, they have done for us.
That's an option, right?
I mean, it does, it's not as expensive as other things might
Correct.
be, but it would be, if they would do it, it would be me that would have this striping. And that doesn't last all that long, so,
No,
you know,
doesn't.
we wouldn't be wasting a lot of money
Nope.
if we went that route.
I think,
I'll disagree.
I'm not trying to answer for anybody, but it seems to me that there's a cost associated with everything. So yes, you can do anything you want, but you gotta figure out a way to pay for it. We have a very small budget. I don't know the exact numbers, but we don't have money to just pay for everything. So Dan and others are trying to get grants so that we can pay for these things. Yes, that might take longer, but obviously we have some money put aside, but we have lots of things that we want and need to pay for. We can't just get everything we want
So-
immediately. That's all.
You know, the council's job is number one under the Pennsylvania Borough Association is public safety of their residents. That's one of our main priorities. So not having crosswalks in our borough is not maintaining a safe
I'm not disagreeing.
borough.
I'm just saying, if
For
that's a
residents to
priority,
walk.
we have to figure out where we're getting the money from to pay for that.
That's what I just said. Why, we have money in an account. We have money. I see it. Why can't we as a borough go get quotes from a painting company that specializes in commercial painting, that paints parking lines, anything on the road, and at least get quotes, and then just, if it's not crazy expensive, us as the borough do it, rather than wait on the state and PennDOT and grants. That's all I'm asking.
Okay. Good questions and good statements, Jason. So, the purpose of the conversation that I want to have with him, the reason I rode around and looked at all the signs and all the roads and what we need, is I have a list of all the signs and that type of thing. I have a cost associated to just buying the signs, not getting someone to do it or anything like that, just to give me a rough idea of magnitude. So what I want to do is develop that plan. So if I develop that plan that we can go for the grants, I also, in the same respect, are doing, what can I do immediately? This is not being left out of that scenario. Okay, I just want you to understand that. The scenario is both. It's all inclusive, not just, okay, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do this, meaning that I intend to come up with a plan that gets those crosswalks and crosswalk signs. Maybe they aren't the effective electronic ones that flash and all that kind of thing right away until we get it there. But get something in place that's affordable, that we can do, and know that if,
I wasn't on council at the time. How long did it take from idea to product to get the speed limit signs?
I can only say anecdotal, but it did take quite a while.
Yeah.
Connie really helped with that, she, found companies that have.
But we bought that on our own as a borough, correct?
Yeah, I went around, took pictures of it in other
Correct.
municipalities.
So we had funds for that
we did, and we voted on it. and they
Yeah,
took
so
the time
that
it
means we have funds we can do.
I'm not worried about that part. I'm worried about how fast I can spend those funds. I mean, look, Jason, to give you an idea, and I thought I did this at the last meeting, to put a proper thing that would last for quite some time, meaning the mastic, big wide stripes, right? It would cost, just for the materials, over $9,000 to do just those 4 roads. Okay? Now that would last a long time. What she's talking about might last a year, might last 6 months. Yeah, it lasts a little longer. At least there's some designation, but that can be an option that we're looking at and voting on.
Does anybody remember how much it costs to just have spring road front paint lines?
No.
Well,
Right.
Connie would have that.
I mean, just because if
But
that's what people are worried about, maybe we should just have them come paint some white lines and maybe it'll help.
See, I don't
You know,
think you
that
can just,
just-
you have to do it properly.
Well, I know, but the outline of where the lines are is still there.
Correct.
So the layout of where the state told us we could have the crosswalk is still there where people can't park, that
And, right,
at least they'd be lined up right for the time being to ease some people. People still aren't gonna stop, there could be flashing signs, like go through York. There's signs that say stop for the pedestrian, a guy's in front of you over there and people are still
Well,
flying
no
by.
one's going to
They-
stop, yes.
Right, but
Nobody
I
stops
do
at a
agree
stop
though
sign.
that having the crosswalks. is
But if we
important.
have fresh lines and someone's walking in between those lines and get hit, they have a very
Right.
reasonable defense.
Right.
But if we don't have any lines,
Right.
the driver could be like, they weren't in the crosswalk.
Right, exactly, no, I agree with that too.
and there are no
Not a
crosswalk
grocery store
signs
with
at
your
this
car,
point.
they don't either.
And that, for them to actually be something, they have to have
It
signs.
just seems like a lot more people walk in the square, it seems like, and utilize
Well,
it.
technically, I know years ago, the state had told us we weren't even supposed to have crosswalks into the square.
Okay.
That's why there was only like the certain ones that were put in just because it's park area. But that, I mean, even if we didn't worry about those and just worried about the other 4 streets, at least would be something
And
safety-wise.
Carla asked for a crosswalk at the church. Remember you wanted
Years ago.
cross,
Years
yeah,
ago.
several years ago. And we got the same answer that the state was not in favor of putting those.
Yeah, between the bank and the post office, they want one,
Yeah.
that one there.
And that, so it's not easy just to get, to do what we should do, but you are correct. We do need crosswalks down there at the square, for sure.
I don't think anybody's in disfavor of it. Let me get it to a point where we can vote on it and do the proper things.
Dan, you said you were working on that. I thought that was gonna be part of that whole thing with PennDOT and the
It
traffic
is.
study,
Yeah.
what you're working on is part of that.
Yes,
That
and like I
program
said,
you're going
and
through.
I've said numerous times, that the plan will be, how much can I do now? What's our priorities? We know this is gonna take some time, major modifications in the square, maybe, maybe in line with, getting grants. Curbing or reducing its size, increasing the radiuses, this type of thing. I mean, just this afternoon, I watched a truck going on the wrong side of the road, so he could make that turn. Well, that's not legally what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to go in the other lane, but not that lane. But what's he gonna do? I'd rather him do that, but if I give more room somehow to them, maybe it won't have to be as dangerous. So that's just one little example of what you see. You guys see them go around the wrong way and all, And again, like everyone said here, there's no amount of signage that's gonna do that, but it brings up less liability and more responsibility onto the perpetrator. Something law enforcement can enforce, if they're there.
If someone was hit by a car in a non-existent crosswalk area, could the borough be sued because they
Yes.
haven't made that?
We can be 100% sued for not having signs or painted crosswalks.
In fact, this just happened in a local township
Yeah.
where they were aware of the issue, but they hadn't acted quickly enough to put paint around like a curb. And I think that pedestrian got hit and then he sued the township and won.
There you go.
So it's something to be worried about.
There you go. Okay. Any further discussion on that? We are taking action forward, without a doubt. Okay. All right, so, let's go to the right's water next.
No, I don't really have anything in town, I have checked roads this week, I will, I think one on the square was out, or was blinking, or it may be fixed now. It was raining when I went by, I did not stop it. I will check it out.
I like your tan.
Thank you. This actually came from after I was back.
Finance?
Yeah, well, as we discussed earlier, I do monthly go over the reports, the financial report. It's in a format that's a little bit different, not as inclusive as the one you guys get, but I do go over that. York area, tax bureau, and we'll have their meeting the end of July. I haven't had one recently. And, as to ICPA, the county meeting was, yes. And we went to the park and we had a very nice little, casual meeting. And we had two representatives from, the York County Boroughs Association who came and spoke to us about the legislation that's ongoing, good and bad, and there's a lot of bad, and dealing that will affect boroughs. And also, they talked a little bit about the budget, which of course, the state still has the budget. So, that's basically, it was a wonderful little meeting.
So just for context, because I know you've been involved in it for so long, but these guys at the County Borough Association, what they do is advocate for boroughs at the state level. So it's beneficial to us to have a good relationship with them, to understand what they're doing for us and what they're doing at the state level to try to help.
They're basically lobbyists for the boroughs. You know, townships have their lobbyists, boroughs have theirs. So each little section, they have their people that are hired to do that work, and, they're really tied up with the budget at present. So when that budget moves, then we'll find out more about what the Borough Association is able to get.
you reminded me, they also gave us a report of the number of residents of each borough, and officially Jefferson has 657.
I think that came from York County.
Probably.
Commissioner Hope, who also attends these meetings. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he is the hardest working commissioner we could have. And he goes to every meeting that he can get to. And so he's always at the Borough Association. And he has presented that in the past, that's why I think.
I thought it was helpful information.
Exactly.
Anything else?
That's it. We're
Any
done.
questions for finance?
No, other than for me to say because the officer was at that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
We attended, both of us.
Solid waste and sewer, any questions or?
I have no question, well, nothing regarding that from any borough issues, but I just did have a question. Off of this newsletter, I see that septic, cause I'm on the sewer, and I wasn't finished with it. But the septic systems need to be pumped out every 3 to 4 years and reports sent to the office. I'm on the, since I am the head of the committee, is there a way I can get the reports sent over to me from the last time they were sent?
Sure. They report, when they pump, it comes from the actual pumping agent.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I didn't know that there was reports that were being sent to the office, and I know I haven't been on council.
Last time I saw one, it's just a simple tabulation of whether they did the.
Well, since I'm the head of the committee, I
Yeah, I don't know
figured
if there's any updates since January.
to see
Since January.
the last dated ones.
That would be the most updated.
Yeah, and he already got that.
You got one from January?
He had one from when he asked for it.
I just got a list of addresses.
And it has the dates. It has the list of
They
dates.
didn't have dates.
Okay.
Maybe that was what was sent.
How many
I'll
of
look at
those?
that.
I think it was like 13 homes.
Like 13 or 14.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, and I'll pull out when you sent that. I thought that's what I sent out.
CC me on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. And yes, you should know that there's, that's fine. Monitoring is helpful. Public safety. Fire company.
I don't have much, all I gotta say is don't forget the carnival next week. Yeah. Gonna be another hot one in a couple days.
Yeah. Hopefully at least more seasonal than the last one.
Well, there's a couple.
Are they?
It's gonna be a couple hot ones, yeah.
So, let's see here then. Any questions for public safety, what, their help you with dates and that kind of thing, and upcoming events? And we're gonna, here, let's see. Common use laptop, we deferred from purchasing, apparently from across, Amazon, what have you. I believe we found some that are well inside, well under our budget level to go get, and, have the specs to satisfy our needs. We got one other stop where we can, investigate out of box. That may get us beyond specs for a reasonable price out of Best Buy, sitting on shelf. Otherwise than that, we're gonna go to a similar spec that, she had sent out, earlier for review. The spec is fine, the cost is well under a third of our budget, or less, so we should be fine with that. So we're gonna continue on with that this week, is that correct? Get that in order.
Maybe what's left in the budget you can use to paint the house
Yeah. Look, we have,
Okay.
yeah.
It was a joke.
No, it's a fair question, and I wish it was moving a little forward faster. I'll blame myself for some of that, not moving as fast as I'd like to.
There's more than just you on the council.
That's true, but at this point, I wanna, take that up with, our engineer and get these things focused for us. I don't wanna pull a half a trigger. I want a trigger to be known. So anyways, that being said, we have money in the fuels that we like to use for different purposes, but that's there for us too. And it can be spent on that. So the next thing that we came up with here is we were gonna update our, patriotic cupcake from National Night Out. Right, so, last we had talked, we were gonna have, so I think Jason, you were gonna contact some folks, were you going to as well? Okay, do we have any feedback on that, cost analysis?
So I've reached out, didn't hear back from the one person I thought, I had an idea of, but I've also would donate cupcakes myself as an option.
Okay,
But the idea was that it came from the borough because the borough was celebrating.
That's what I'm saying, I would donate.
But what we need to know is what cupcakes we get and from whom.
So-
And that's what,
you were gonna look into your source, you've got a source too.
Okay.
So what did you find out? It's okay, no response is no response, that's all it is.
Yeah, so the one that I reached out to, her parents live in the borough, and she would do, I gave her around 4 dozen as a number, and so she said for the regular size cupcakes, she would discount it, for $25 a dozen or $100 for that. And then if we wanted to do minis at 4 dozen, she would do, her discount would be $45. So for the regular cupcakes, she's given us a $32 discount and $10 discount for minis.
Would the minis be 4 dozen also? Okay. I mean, I like the quick one option personally. So you don't think you try to eat a whole cupcake, but that's just me. Literally just my opinion.
Well, I think that even the $100 was under my expectations, so, why don't we do 8 dozen minis?
As long as we can get a patriotic theme on a mini.
Yeah, I'm sure, I mean, she's pretty creative herself.
What do you think? I mean, we're spending bucks. Yeah, let's,
8 dozen minis?
Yeah.
like yellow and chocolate cupcakes too.
Yeah, I can have her mix it, yeah. Yeah, she can do a variety. Oh, she wants to do.
I wanna make a motion that we move forward with the, purchase of 8 dozen minis from, what I need,
She is Cupcakes by Jen.
Cupcakes by Jen.
I'll second
Any questions, further discussion? All those in favor?
that. Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous?
And you're saying 8 dozen.
Yes, please. We're giving them away, people don't.
Well, I like the idea for minis because the little kids,
Hey,
yeah,
this is smaller thing for them, it's not as messy.
well, and they might not eat the whole cupcake.
Yeah.
Just throw it away.
Sorry, there was more involved in my decision than just my opinion.
All right, so we got that out of the way and moving forward. One thing I forgot, I wanna jump back into, the playground for a minute. The Lions, as I asked him to do some engineering and that type of thing, the Lions have actually donated $500 designated specifically for playground improvements. That's the money we'll probably use to buy the plates and, engineering for their gazebo that they donated. So it's being paid for altogether by the Lions. Forgot to bring that up, I
don't understand what the
apologize.
plates are for. I don't,
Pardon?
what is, what are we asking the engineer to do and what are the plates for the gazebo?
For a structure that
Okay.
we're putting up, it needs to have engineered drawings for, permitting purposes,
Mhm.
for us to put it up and make sure it's safe for the public to use. Right? And right now, the only thing that we're missing from the original design is a part that would have gone into the poured concrete on their footers that this attaches to, as bolt holes through the bottom plates of the columns, the columns that goes up to. So what I'm asking him to engineer is a flat plate that goes on that will have holes on it that they can fasten down into the concrete. Okay? Or whatever they recommend.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, but that way we can fasten it. And without a whole lot of templates and that kind of stuff going on. Right? That help?
Yeah.
And I'll just put a plug in for them, and they do a lot of good work for our community. And frankly, when I see them on the road, they're getting older. Where are the younger ones? If you know other people who are looking to help the borough,